Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Aviation Scope. I am Chukwemeka Obioma. Today, we are looking at the importance of maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities in airports across the country. And with me to actually examine this subject matter is Mr. Tunji Oketumbi. Mr. Tunji Oketumbi is a former public affairs manager at Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau. Mr. Oketumbi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Like you already know, there's this move to actually introduce M.R.O in airports across the country. And this is actually led by M.R.O Ganduje, the newly appointed chairman of, fan board. Now, coming from a body that examines incidents of, crashes and all that in the aviation industry, how would you view this, move by FAN? Do you think it is worth the while? Do you think it's worth the effort? Do you think it's something we should even be talking about?
Yeah, it's obviously something that we should be talking about. I mean, when you look at the importance of M.R.O to the nation's aviation industry, yeah, we should be talking about it, of course, for many years. And up till now, we've not had that kind of M.R.O that we are, that we may desire. And again, when you look at the economic benefits of having M.R.O, then you should be talking about it.
Okay.
The impact it's going to generate on the aviation industry, the airline industry, and generally for the country. We should be talking about it. However, I'm trying to wrap my head around.
I'm actually coming to that. Now, for Nigerians who may not understand the importance of M.R.O,
yes,
could you try to break it down, for them to actually comprehend when we say maintenance, repair, overhaul hangar facilities being built in airports across the Federation, what are we actually talking about?
Okay. Now, we have aircraft flying within the country, and you need to maintain them.
Okay.
Let me break it down. There are certain levels of aircraft maintenance. They are broken into A check, B check, and D check. The A check is just the normal routine maintenance. Like an aircraft has flown for a particular period, it lands, they will change, like you are changing oil filter, you are changing this, you are changing that, when you do your normal routine maintenance of your car. So they do all those. We do that one in this country. I mean, the aircraft will fly, after some time it lands, then the engineers on ground will do normal routine maintenance on that aircraft. Then the big check, now the big check have been virtually collapsed into A check. They have moved some of those things into A check. Now the C check is where the issue is now. The C check is like overhaul. The engine and the significant part or the system of the aircraft. Now you are looking at the avionics, you are looking at the engine, you are looking at all other critical aspects of the aircraft, like the landing gear. So that the C check is not normally done in this country. When they want to do that, they carry the aircraft, they fly the aircraft to other parts of the world, like Ethiopia in Africa, Ethiopia, Morocco, and probably South Africa. But in most cases, they go to Europe and Asia,
Okay.
Indonesia, Singapore, and even America, But when Nigeria Airways was still here, they were carrying out A check, and they even attempted C check. They even did C check on a particular aircraft. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's something that is very, very critical, that is very necessary for us to have here. And anytime they take the aircraft overseas like that to go and do the maintenance, like the C check that we're talking about, they spend a lot of money. Foreign exchange.
All right. Now, I want to ask, many say it's, having M.R.O. hangars across the Federation in different airports is merely a logistical enhancement. How correct is that?
You don't have to have, that's my opinion. You don't have to have M.R.O. in all the airports or in all the geographical regions of the country. We are even just starting. How many aircraft do we have in this country, for example? So we need M.R.O., but we must not make it to look like something you have at every bus stops. No.
Why do you say so?
It depends on the volume, the traffic you have. Yeah, we are saying, okay, there are people can come from all other countries to, is that the way they have it in Morocco? Is that the way they have it in Ethiopia? Ethiopia has, gone far in terms of M.R.O. and they take aircraft from various parts of the world. What I'm saying is that, why don't we start and do it well? Right now, another airline, domestic airline, has also indicated they are starting the construction of an M.R.O., which they believe will be, or they have stated, will be ready in 2 years' time. And now, FAN wants to build M.R.O. in how many airports? 6 airports, or virtually all the airports, or whatever. We need to coordinate our activities. We need to really know what we are doing. I would love to have FAN building M.R.O. and also another airline, maybe Airpeace or any other airline that wants to. Aero contractors that's also been trying to. They have M.R.O. Okay, maybe the level of what they can do, differs. Right now may not be what we want right now. However, if we want to do it, let's do it like we are serious.
Okay, so when you say let's do it like we are serious, what exactly do you mean?
Okay.
How would we do it to actually portray seriousness on our own path?
Fine. This is something that we've been trying to do since 1988. The federal government at that time, tried to establish what they call national maintenance hangar. They were on it for several years and it collapsed, it fizzled out. Then in, I think around 2013 or so, they tried to do what they call PPP, public-private partnership, something like that. Okay? It never saw the light of the day. When the government is trying to enter into a business, then it becomes a concern for me. You understand? But they can provide the infrastructure. They can build the hangar. They can do this. But they have not told us what they want to do with having 6 M.R.Os. How? How do you want to do it?
And that brings me to the question of the economic benefits these M.R.Os have for the sector and the economy at large.
Yeah, number one economic benefit is that it stops capital flights.
Okay.
Because one, you will be paying for your maintenance in Naira. Anytime you want to go for C-check now, the airline has to be looking for how to, get maybe $4 million, $6 million. Translate that one into Naira and see what it gives you. So you don't have to be cracking your head on how to get foreign exchange. And foreign exchange has been a problem for us here. So they will now get the local. They are operating in local. Most of the domestic airlines are operating local flights, and so they are making their money in naira. Even the ones that have been over international flight, most of the money for that comes from within Nigeria. So the people pay in naira. So they have to convert this money to foreign exchange before you can take your aircraft out. Now, if the money is coming into Nigeria, that's one aspect, foreign exchange. You have been able to block that outflow of foreign exchange. Again, you see that once you are doing it here, you generate employment. Even though I see a problem believing the Air France, AFPs saying they want to generate 50,000. That may be exaggerated, but one thing that is sure is that they are going to generate employment, direct employment and indirect employment. So that's a big boost for economy, So once you have that, then the airlines also, when they save money, and they do not have to have that headache, they are going to, it's going to affect the economy. You all know that the airline industry is a catalyst for the economic development. I'm sure you know that. Okay. Because people fly from here to Abuja, from Abuja to Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to everywhere, and things like that. It boosts the economy of the nation. It is a catalyst for rapid economic development. So, and that is that. So there are other numerous advantages that you generate from having M.R.Os. I have no doubt about that. And that is what in the aviation industry, people have been clamoring for a very long time.
All right.
But right now, we are still groping for that. Perhaps if this one succeeds, the one that the Air France wants to do, the efforts of M.R.O, and if FAN is able to get this one through, then maybe we will maybe are on our way to getting there now.
All right. Maybe we are on our way to getting there now. With that line, we go on a short break. And when we return, Aviation Scoop continues.
Airports aren't just places where passengers board and depart. Behind every safe takeoff is a hidden industry. Maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities, or M.R.Os. These specialized workshops keep aircraft airworthy, compliant, and on schedule. But beyond safety, M.R.Os are also economic engines, generating revenue, creating jobs, and reducing costs for airlines and airports. These are the uses with economic impact. First, routine checks and quick fixes. By handling daily inspections and small repairs, M.R.Os reduce flight delays and cancellations. That means that airlines save money, passengers stay on schedule, and airports maintain efficient traffic flow. Secondly, heavy maintenance and overhauls. Big checks like C and D checks extend aircraft's life and delay expensive fleet replacements. For airlines, that's millions saved, while airports with in-house M.R.O attract carriers who prefer to service planes locally rather than abroad. Next, engine and major component work. Repairing and reconditioning engines, landing gear, and avionics locally cuts down on foreign outsourcing costs. It also builds specialist workshops that generate high-skill employment. Then cabin upgrades and retrofits. M.R.Os allow airlines to refresh interiors and meet safety standards without buying new planes. This boosts passenger experience and lease value, while airports capture revenue from the refurbishment business. Next, AOG Rapid Response. When an aircraft is grounded, Every hour means lost revenue. On-site M.R.Os get planes back in the air faster, directly protecting airline income and preserving passenger trust. Part logistics and supply chain. By managing inventories locally, M.R.Os cut turnaround times and reduce costly downtime, keeping airlines profitable and operations smooth. Training and regional hub services. Airport M.R.Os double as training centers, developing skilled local engineers. They also attract third-party clients, private jets, foreign airlines, charters, turning airports into regional hubs and boosting the local economy. In conclusion, M.R.O facilities do far more than fix aircraft. They save airlines money, generate airport revenue, reduce outsourcing costs, build jobs, and position airports as regional service hubs. In essence, they are the technical and commercial backbone of modern aviation, ensuring not just safety in the skies, but sustainability and growth on the ground.
2564 is coming up on boarding time, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Welcome back, viewers. It's still your program Aviation Scope on your darling station, Voice of the People Television. And I've been speaking with Mr. Oketunji, Mr. Oketumbi, a former public affairs manager at formerly AIB, now NSIB, Nigerian Safety and Investigation Bureau. All right, sir. Like we were discussing before we called for that short break. Now, there have been talks about cannibalization of aircraft, sir, and we need to help us understand this. What is it about cannibalizing aircraft to get other aircraft that have been dormant for a while to fly again?
I don't want to believe that unless the aircraft has just been packed. Let me start from this.
All right.
Every component you see on the aircraft has time expiry date. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it's difficult for me to say, okay, I believe an aircraft can be cannibalized, to fix another aircraft. If the parts you are removing from that aircraft have not expired. You see, most of the components of the aircraft are to be used within a particular period. If you don't use them, if you park the aircraft, you are not even flying. Those components will expire by time. It's either it expires by use, or it expires by time. For example, let's assume you say fuel pump. I'm just using one, just random something. They say this fuel pump, the information that the aircraft owners have is that you use this aircraft and remove it maybe after you have flown the aircraft for 50 times landings, maybe after 50 landings, or after 6 months. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So now you begin to see that if you don't use that aircraft at all, you just park it, by the time you want to use that aircraft, several components in that aircraft have expired. You can't use them. You can't use them. If you are using them, let's say you have not packed it, you are flying with them, they will tell you after 200 landings, change this component, or after 6 months. So if you don't use it within those 6 months, they are already due for removal. So now if you want to cannibalize one aircraft, for how long have you packed that aircraft? Are those components you want to remove from that aircraft to another aircraft, are they still usable?
So are you saying that that information is not correct?
I'm not saying it's not correct. I'm saying that it's very dangerous to just cannibalize an aircraft and bring the components to use in another aircraft. Okay, let me give you an instance.
Okay.
Before Arik started operation, they first bought 2 used aircraft, and they took the aircraft to Alabama and then Dothan in Alabama, and I was privileged to go to see that aircraft with one of my colleagues. We went there. That time I was a journalist, as an aviation reporter. So we were there, and the people that were maintaining that aircraft, that were doing the overhauling of that aircraft, told me that the owner of that airline was wasting money because there were quite a lot of components that were not yet due to be changed. That he said they should change all of them to new. So, and I saw the man, and I asked the man, they said, you are wasting money. Why were you changing the components that are not yet expired? He said, no, he was trying to reduce the time of aircraft on ground. So, because those ones will still be due for change. And now he didn't want the aircraft to be on ground for that period. Maybe it made sense. You understand what I'm saying? But what I'm telling you is that there are some people who are cannibalizing an aircraft to go and use the components on the other side. Depends on a lot of things.
Okay. Now, having said that, in terms of safety, how would you rate Nigeria's compliance level with ICAO standard?
Of course, we are doing fine. I'm not trying to...
If you say fine, I mean,
we are doing very well. We are doing very well in
100.
terms of... so, you see, anytime a foreign body is coming to Nigeria to assess us,
yes,
they will go to the CAA, that is Civil Aviation Authority.
Okay.
That is the major focus. Once the CAA is doing well, they believe that the country is safe, because they will be able to exercise the right oversight.
Okay.
The appropriate oversight, over the domestic airlines.
Okay.
So, and we are still in category 1.
Category 1.
Yes. Wow. So, as a country, I think we are doing very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As a country, you think we are doing very well. Now, could you just walk us through C check and D check? I mean, tell us about the duration involved in these 2 categories of, checks, safety checks.
Maybe maybe it differs from one aircraft to the other, but whatever. But generally, let me just give you a general something. For the C check, it's between 18 months and 2 years. Generally.
Yes.
Between 18 months and 2 years, you are supposed to go and do a C check, which is overhaul of the engines and the aircraft. I mean the mainframe, the airframe, of the aircraft. And I said the other time that apart from the engines, you are looking at the avionics. That's what you call the electrical system. Okay. Let me put it that way. The avionics, the engines, the landing gears, that carries the weight of the aircraft. So generally they look at all those things and some other systems within the hydraulic system and all those things. They look at that. but the D check is complete overhaul. If you have seen where they are doing D check, the aircraft is stripped to the bears. You change cables, they will change a lot of things in the aircraft. That after a D check, the aircraft is almost as good as new, brand new aircraft, because they would have changed a lot of things to the components. So that's a little bit I can tell you about C check and D check.
D check. All right. And you think it has to go on for as long as the business continues, but is it something that could be consigned to just private airline operators, or you think
any aircraft you are operating must follow the manufacturer's maintenance schedules? The manufacturers would have already told you, this particular aircraft we are selling to you,
yes,
these are the schedules you have to follow, and you have to follow them.
But are there regulations in place to ensure that these airline operators actually follow this strict?
Of course, or otherwise you can't fly. NCAA operates by regulations. Everything that airlines do come under regulations. They have regulations for everything. I tell people, I say in aviation, even if you want to cough, there are checklists. There are regulations covering your coughing. Anything you want to do in aviation comes under regulation, there are checklists that you have to follow them. Otherwise, safety is in jeopardy.
All right, otherwise safety in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And with that, we call it a wrap on today's edition of Aviation Scope. And I've been speaking with Mr. Tunji Oketumbi, a former public affairs manager at AIB, formerly AIB, but now NSIB, that is Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. Mr. Oketumbi, it's been a wonderful time having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope. The sky isn't the limit, it's just
Welcome to Kiwi's Corner. Every weekend is a new journey. Join Auntie Oni as she embark on thrilling adventures. Each 8